Guys, did you see it? Did you see the thing though, guys? What did you think? Isn't it amazing? Isn't it awesome? I'm going to be taking questions. You can ask me anything you like, and I will answer you if I know the answer. It's as simple as that. But I will set the scene by saying, like, obviously we knew what we were going to see, right? We knew that we were going to get a hands-on with player housing. I did not expect it to be so good. And we didn't think we'd get pictures of like the outside and exterior and things like that. Okay, right. Pink Maple. Tali, can I place trees inside the house? Pink Maple, the answer is yes. Yes, you can. As far as I could see, and I'm sure there will be some differentiation, but there was no differentiation between inside and outside when it came to items. You could just put everything wherever. Like, there were clearly like outside items that we could put on the inside. There was a big Tauren, like, kind of like oil water pump thing, right? You know, one of those big like hammer shaped things going up and down like that, which was bigger than like any room that you could place in your house, but you could still put it in there. You could shrink it down, obviously, but the normal size of it was just absolutely massive. And you could put that in your living room if you wanted. There's no differentiation. You can put whatever you want anywhere you want. And in fact, the reason I paused it here is because if you have a look at this picture of the exterior, and we still don't know anything about that, how the exterior works really. We've just got like these amazing images and stuff like that. These like goblin-y lights that are placed on the outside of the house here, these are interior items. Like you can place, we were, you know, playing with these and placing them, and they have a nice little swing to them and stuff like that. And we were using these inside. And so I think like I think to a certain degree, you can just like place anything, you know, on the outside of your home. I noticed there's this picture a bit further back. Can you see someone's put like trellises all in front of their house here? I get a feeling like that's a player thing that they, you know, some chosen player decoration that they've put there. Maybe, I don't know if that's like a little hint at what's to come there. The only thing I would want more is to be able to buy little plots in, say, Goldshire and build there. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, that would be cool. I don't know where this is going to be yet. So you might have noticed in the video, one of the things I'm actually disappointed in is that it looks like you're going to go through like a little portal, like, you know, Dark Moon Fair or Silver Moon style to get into your neighborhood. A lot of people are going to be like, yeah, obviously, Tali, of course that's how it's going to work. But I was really, really holding out hope that it would work a bit like garrisons, in that you could, you know, the neighborhood would be a bit like a garrison where, you know, you can just be flying along and you'll phase into your garrison with no load screen or anything like that. I was hoping it was going to be like that. It might still be. See what you think from Jesse's answer in the interview when we put that out tomorrow. See what you reckon. Did they say when they expect it to go live? I mean, it's a midnight feature. They say it will be coming out before the release of Midnight. I would say that where the player housing symbol on the roadmap is, by the way, you might have noticed, like I did, the player housing symbol is in this video as well, the one that's on the roadmap. Did you see it? Did you spy it here? Just there? Do you see that on the little placard outside, the little player housing logo that they've got going on outside the plot there? So I think it's pretty fair to say that where it appears on the roadmap, it's likely it's going to go live there, which probably, I mean, almost certainly, he said confidently, isn't going to be the release of Midnight. At this stage, I don't even know, but it sounds like it's coming out a little bit before Midnight. And the reason that they've been, you know, so forward with this and had information out there much, much earlier than they usually would, and getting feedback on it, is because they've built in player feedback into like the whole loop of this feature. And they were like, we don't want to just drop it unseen in the alpha. We want to get feedback. We want to get ideas. We want this to be what people want it to be, sort of thing. Will you be able to buy bundle items, like make dinner plates with different pieces and then duplicate that bundle? Oh, that's a great idea. There was loads. I haven't heard anything on that. There was lots of feedback about like the UI and like the whole mechanics of placing things. So it was generally agreed that what people would really, really want is like almost like a cut and paste kind of thing, because at the moment, if you place one thing, you have to go back into the menu and you have to like place it again, and back into the menu, place it again. Having like a select of like, I've just got a bunch of these in my hand and I can place them sort of wherever I want. That would be really good. Yeah, a whole kind of like multi-select thing and duplication thing would also be really, really good. I'd very much like to see an option to straight out like replace stuff. So say you've got one table, you know, and it's in one style, I'd like to be able to click on that table and choose from the menu another table specifically to replace it, you know, rather than having to like get rid of that table, go into the menu, put another table in its place, put all the things back on top and stuff like that. I feel like that would be really, really good. What else? Yeah, multi-select tool was mentioned. Yeah, stuff like that. Maybe a rough neighborhood with dog shit everywhere. Okay, so there is a bucket of poo. One of the items in the menu is indeed a bucket of poo. And it's funny because like when you're looking at the cost of stuff, you know, like there's 10,000 item limit at the moment in the house, which isn't a finalized number. It seems like a lot. There's a 10,000 item limit right now. In a house, but there is like some things do cost more than one item. Okay, so like really big things, you know, like a big tree or something might cost like 3 or 4. You know, most stuff that I saw did just cost 1, including the poo in a bucket. But I was like, that should definitely cost 2. No brainer, right? Can't believe that wasn't already there. And that's the thing, right? So there's no shortage of ideas. You know, everyone's got like a million ideas for things that they would like to see in this now that they know like the basic kind of shape and structure of it. What about being able to have a multi-select tool that's someone who made like that stovetop you gave an example of, and having a string to share so you could place the exact same thing in your house? Yeah, that would be really cool. That'd be really good. I have no idea how feasible that would be. I have no idea what's going on in the back end with all this stuff. I have no idea what's going on with on the back end with this poo bucket, right? You know, but definitely. Are you able to save things like you mentioned the Anoxia spit? Can you select it and duplicate it elsewhere? Not that I've seen, no. And that would be a really cool thing to be able to do, absolutely. It would be cool if you had the neighborhood go through seasons. A snowy village scene would be super pretty. Yeah, I was thinking that, but then I guess, I mean, that would just be cool throughout the entire game as well. I don't even feel like that is a specifically neighborhood thing that you're asking for there. I feel like that's just a thing, right? That you're asking for in the game. Okay, so is one house per account confirmed? I was sure we could have multiple. Okay, so this is something from my interview, which is coming out tomorrow. Please watch it. It's a really good interview. I don't know if you saw Jesse Kalanchik on the panel at PAX. He is like literally the new star of Blizz. Okay? It would be in PAX the first time most of us will have seen anything of him. He is the founder of Proletariat. You know that studio that Blizz bought? Okay? He's a long-time WoW player. He's played since the alpha. He's played WoW, like, more than most people at Blizz, right? But he set up Proletariat, the publisher, that Blizzard bought. Do you remember they bought them a couple of years ago? And they were like, we're going to be getting this publisher to be working mostly on, like, assets. And everyone was like, oh, trading post stuff and what have you. It turns out... So this office in Boston, the Blizzard office, it's a bit wrong to call it a Blizzard office because it's not really a Blizzard office. It's a WoW office, okay? This office only works on WoW. And not only that, this office in Boston, and it's a whole 2 floors of like a building, it only works on player housing. So what happened was Blizz bought Proletariat, Jesse was put in charge of player housing, and everyone who works in that office works on player housing. They're not the only people who work on player housing, but basically the Boston office, the old Proletariat office, is just player housing. So from the second they bought it, however many years ago that was, I'm sure we all remember it. I remember it because it's such a cool name, Proletariat. It shut down since Blizz bought them. Well, yeah, of course. Like, because they all got... And Blizz said that as well when they bought them. They were like, everyone... We are buying this studio and we are putting them to work on WoW. That was always the case. And it turns out they've just, like, put them all on player housing. So that's what everyone on that campus is doing. It's just wild. It's, like, really, really awesome. So, yeah, Jesse Kalanchik is gonna be a massive star of WoW. It's kind of insane. He's wild. He's like really, really charismatic. He's got great energy. As soon as I saw him on stage at PAX, I was like, holy shit, I can't wait to interview that guy on Monday. Like, he's got such a good energy, and he's a great interview. Really, really good. So he said, and I specifically asked this in my interview, I was like, can you clarify how many houses we're gonna get? Is it one per faction, per account, or is it one per character? And it was a 2-second answer. He was like, you will have one house per account per faction. So most people are going to have 2 houses, one in the Alliance zone and one in the Horde zone. That is from the horse's mouth itself. So we now know that. That is a fact. At the moment. Like, basically, like, that's the whole thing about housing, right? Is that anything could change at any point. Yeah, and, you know, there's a part of me which is disappointed about that. There's a part of me that thinks it's probably the best way to do it. So, I don't know. Like, the thing I think about, right, is the thing that kind of sways me into thinking it's probably a good idea. This is my head talking rather than my heart. My heart says, I want a house for each character. My head says, remember garrisons. Remember how depressing it is to log on in the garrison of any character except your main. And like all that unfinished stuff, all that unfilled out stuff, and that's in a garrison where it's all pretty much like set anyway. Imagine like all of those alts that you just can't be bothered doing housing stuff on, and like imagine how sad, and like for me that's gonna kind of just stoke anxiety. So I think my heart still wants one house per character. My head says it's probably a good idea. And I don't know if you remember in the video, they wouldn't come out and say this, obviously, but my personal impression from their responses in the roundtable when I asked it, and the roundtable was over, okay? People were packing up and leaving. I'd spoken far too much in the roundtable already. I actually felt a bit embarrassed by how much I had spoken in the roundtable. Like on more than one occasion, I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm saying too much. And I like took a step back sort of thing. But I couldn't let it go. At the end of the roundtable, I was like, no one's asked this. I have to ask this. I'm really sorry. Can our alts walk around our houses? Like, can we place our alts kind of like furniture and get them to wander around? And they were like, well, you know, we want your house to feel dynamic and lived in, and you know, we want it to feel like it's a real like they didn't say yes, but I don't see how you could take it as a no. Put it that way. Like I can't take no from what they said. Like I have no doubt that they want to do that. And that if they can, they will. Was there mention of armor stands you could customize? Yes. Watch the interview. Again, it was one of those things where they didn't say no, so I think they want to. You know? And like, obviously you can have like weapon items in your inventory and your housing inventory that you'll be able to place on stands, but what everyone wants is like their tier sets and their artifacts and stuff like that. For sure. So, I don't know. TBC, I guess. Or to be, like, announced, I guess. I hope they don't put private neighborhoods by a paywall being gold or not. Okay, so you will be buying your house with gold. It seems like the cost is going to be nothing, basically. Like, they don't want any barrier into you getting your house. They don't want that at all. Like, they want everyone to have a house. Like, and whether they do anything with it is, you know, up to them, really. And the thing is, if you don't care about housing at all, you're probably not watching this stream right now, but if you don't care about housing at all, it's really, really easy to get the interior of your house presentable. You know, you can just select which style you want it in. Do you want it in rustic, which is human? Do you want it in like, folk, which is human, rustic, which is like orc? Do you want it in night elf, blood elf? Oh, you've all seen my blood elf house that I made, right? This is the house that I made. And so what I did was I literally, and we're putting like, me and Evie talked about how I built this for quite a long time. And I actually cut it out the video that you just saw because the video was getting way too long. So I'm going to edit that together again. And I'm going to put it on Patreon for you. And you'll see the patrons will be able to watch me and Evie talking about how we put this together. Yeah, so you can see I clicked on every individual part. I just clicked on this wall here and I selected from a drop down menu, like super quick, blood elf, and it just changed it from like the kind of folky thing to like this. Is the BE graphics and textures like BC Revolution, or is it resolution, or is it been improved? It looks much higher res than BC Resolution. Yeah, it might well be from the stuff they're working on in Silver Moon at the moment. Are there interactable items for the house, or is it decor only? Oh no, there are loads of interactable items. Yeah, so nearly all the lights that I was able to place, if you can hover over like things, and if they're interactable, then a little kind of like cog wheel comes up over them, and if they're dyeable, then a little palette comes up over them as well on your cursor. So you can literally like turn off and on most light sources, which is pretty cool. You can sit in chairs and stuff like that, but there are items that have more functionality than that as well. Like, you know, some things you click on, like bubbles start coming out and shit like that. There was a secret bookcase which when you interacted with it, it like slid back and across and it was a door, stuff like that. Like really fucking awesome stuff like that, to be honest. And like all the platforms and stuff that you can you know, all the tables and platforms and stuff that you put there, you can obviously like stand on and things like that. So the first thing I did, honestly, when I was in the house, was to put a bunch of platforms all over the room, because you can free float them, you can put them on walls, and just created a jumping puzzle. Now, at the moment, there is no way to hurt yourself in the player house. Fall damage doesn't hurt you, and they're sanctuaries as well, which means you cannot duel in them yet. I've been told that the whole sanctuary thing will definitely be changed. The sanctuary thing is definitely getting changed. You will be able to like duel each other in your player house if you want to. And I think they realize that players want to be able to take full damage and stuff in there as well, because people do want to make little dungeons and stuff and like jump puzzles and interactive mazes and things like that. And I can tell you right now, you will be able to do that. Like you will be able to make jump puzzles. You will be able to make like death rooms and stuff like that. I'm certain they will enable like damage and stuff in there. Like the way they were talking, it just seems like they will. Are there lockable doors for the rooms in case I invite people in, but I have an unfinished room I do not want someone to see? That is an amazing question. I did not hear anyone ask it. Maybe someone asked it in one of their own like personal interviews, but I do not have an answer for you. That would be really, really awesome. I wonder if they'll let us truly play with the physics in our house, reverse gravity. Well, the thing is, right, you can introduce items that can do that, right? Like you'd be able to go, there's no option to reverse the gravity in your house, right? But there's no reason why you couldn't have an item like the gnomish gravity reverser, which is like a piece of furniture, and when you put it in your room, then it does reverse the gravity, you know, or let you float or swim around or something like that. If you can do it with a toy, and this is something that Jesse said as well, you know, when it comes to functionality and stuff in the houses, he's like, I reckon if you can do it with a toy, it's probably okay to have it in the house. So, you know, transmog, barber shopping, that sort of stuff you can do it with toys. So I would probably expect to see things that let you do that within the house. And like funny things that do cool things with the physics and shit like that. I would expect to see in there as well. At some point, you know, maybe not at launch, but definitely eventually. Did they mention any limitation on the size of the interior? Yes, I think I accidentally cut that bit from this video, actually. But there are 10 rooms maximum at the moment. And so the house we were put in at the to play with was, I guess, kind of like a max level house or an advanced house. So obviously when you So that we had 10 rooms, and the rooms range from like huge to tiny, but you can obviously have a huge room and separate it out with interior walls and stuff to make like loads more rooms than 10, obviously. But yeah, as far as like the rooms that you can place leading off from each other, 10. But some of them are like genuinely massive, and like go up multiple floors as well. And the item limit in the house that we were playing with was 10,000. In the entire house. Now, I was speaking to Jay Hong, I believe, who is in charge of like interior decor and is also like their recognized interior decor master. He's the guy that makes all of these scenes that you see in the video. And we watched him do like a live build, and he was like, let's make a Pandaren tavern. And he like placed this Pandaren tavern table, and he was like, funny story, I actually designed that table for Mr. Pandaria. Which is kind of cool. And he was like, he makes all of these interiors that you're going to see in footage and B-roll and videos and stuff. And he says that he has never ever used more than 1,600 in like any build he's done. And like, look how detailed these builds are, right? He's a designer. He's like an environment designer. So he's got a really good eye for like placing things and setting up like great, like you can see how busy these interiors are, right? And he says he's never used more than 1,600. So 10,000 is, in theory, more than you're ever going to need. Put it that way. But having said that, that would be like maybe not what you're going to start with. So when you start with player housing, you might not have access to all of these things straight away because, of course, you've got to collect them, whether that be from like questing or crafting or like whatever else, right? Or achievements, things like that. So all of these things will have a different source. Some you'll just be able to buy off a vendor. Some you'll just like you'll get through questing and stuff like that. So I'm not sure, no one's sure at the moment, what your collection is going to look like literally on day one when you get your keys and you walk in through the front door, right? I'm certain that the different styles will be baseline, or at the very least just talk to someone in like Silvermoon or something to get the Blood Elf one. Who knows? How much stuff do you reckon we'll have baseline? I have no idea. I've got a feeling that the basics and the new stuff that they've made specifically for player housing, like the beds and the tables that are dyeable and stuff like that, I've got a feeling that'll all be available straight up. I'm hoping for my Troll Hunter I can go heavy on the Jurassic Park vibes. You will. There was loads of Zandalari stuff in the catalog that we were looking through, in the inventory that we were looking through. Definitely. Will there be a separate Hearthstone to your house and out of it back to where you were so you can hop back and forth? Well, I know that they've had to change the in-game text surrounding Hearthstones, because when you click on like an innkeeper or something, it says, do you wish to make this in your home? And they've had to change that because your home is here. So now the text when you click on like an innkeeper or something is like, do you wish to set your Hearthstone here? So I think it's almost I actually hope that if there is a Hearthstone to your home, I hope the Hearthstone doesn't go to your home. I hope it pops you in the middle of your neighborhood. I think that would be better. I would much prefer it if the Hearthstone popped you at the entrance to your neighborhood and then you actually had to just go and enter your front door from there. I don't know, what do you guys think? I think like taking you straight to your home would be a shame. I think it'd be much better to like pop you at the entrance of the neighborhood so you have to walk through the neighborhood to get to your house. I think that'd be much, much better. I know some of you disagree, but I think all the cool kids will agree with me. Even if your job was to hate WoW, what would be the biggest arguments that WoW player housing isn't good? The loading screen. The fact that the zone isn't... I don't think... We haven't got confirmation in this at the moment. When I asked Jesse about it, he literally said, I don't know. But responses I got from other people in the round table, I think suggests like... I don't think you're going to be able to fly into it. They said that it's going to exist in the in-game world in like an abstract sense, and the comparison was like Warsong Gulch. So you know Warsong Gulch, like it's there, right? It's there. You can see it, but it's not like Warsong Gulch. You actually have to go through a loading screen for that. That was the comparison. So like that's probably the worst thing about it at the moment, in my opinion. And like some of you won't give a fuck about that at all. Some of you are not going to give a flying shit about that. Did they say anything about how you visit other neighborhoods? No. I saw something that I'm not allowed to share. I think I'm the only person that saw it as well. I found something in menus that I mentioned it to Jesse, and he was like, "You were not supposed to see that." I don't know. It's all a work in progress, right? It's all a work in progress. In the background of the video, you can see a fort or something. Can you tell where that is? Is it Stormwind? I think it looks like you can see Stormwind in the background. Where is it? What I will say is that I have seen more footage in just stills of the outside. I've seen more footage of... I've seen like an aerial view of the... or, you know, like a kind of a raised view of the Alliance one. And I've seen a very raised view of the what I think is like the entire Horde neighborhood as well. And yeah, the different areas that you have in them is crazy, is wild, is like, and these are just in slides where they were telling us what we were going to do in the day, right? Can we put crafting tables in the house? No mention of that. It feels like maybe. I've got a feeling those will be neighborhood things rather than house things. It's the impression I get. I feel like they haven't decided on whether that's too much functionality for the house yet. I think they'll probably go, we'll meet you halfway, we'll put it in the neighborhood. If it's Nelwyn, then it's got to be like far away from Goldshire, right? Yeah, I mean, it is getting added to the map, but it's, you know, you'll be able to fly over it and through it and it won't turn into your neighborhood. It's the impression that I'm getting. You'll have to go through like the specific entrance to get into your neighborhood. Do you get to pick the plot or is it randomly assigned? You get to pick your plot. Yeah, it is not randomly assigned. So if you want like the one that's out in the spooky woods, and there is one that's out in the spooky woods, then you just need like to get it, and they'll put you in, and you know, or undecided if they'll just put you in a neighborhood that has that one free currently, a public one, or if you'll have to wait for, you know, a neighbor to get filled up and then grab it when the next neighborhood comes up or whatever. But like what I was told is, yeah, you'll be able to get whatever plot you want. In public neighborhoods, all bets are off when it comes to like a private neighborhood, right? When it comes to a private or a guild neighborhood, sort it out your fucking selves. Like, he was like, that's not our fucking problem, man. It's like, when it comes to private neighborhoods, like guild neighborhoods and stuff, like, you guys can sort that shit out. You're grown-ups, okay? But when it comes to a public neighborhood, yeah, there shouldn't be anything stopping you getting the plot that you want. Can you live in more than one neighborhood? Well, you can live in the Alliance one and you can live in the Horde one, but there's only one house per plot per account. It's like, it's account wide. It's like one house per faction neighborhood per account. So you'll have one house in the Alliance one house in the Horde one, assuming you have characters in Horde and Alliance. Time for guild drama over plots of land? Yeah, well, you know it, right? Any idea if you'll be able to give rights to other people for like co-op building? No, I don't know that. I don't know that. I don't have an answer for that one, I'm afraid. Is there much DK Demon Hunter themed decor to make house spooky themed? There's lots of Forsaken stuff, yeah. And, you know, like, whether there is stuff at launch, like, eventually, you're going to get every single item of, you know, furniture that is in the game. And more besides. I get the feeling the stuff that goes on the trading post, and I think a very good way of thinking about it is mounts. You know, retroactively, they're going to put all of the furniture that's in the game available. But the stuff that's on, like, the store and the trading post is going to be like new, very, very unique stuff that maybe doesn't even fit like the world building otherwise, which is what they tend to do with mounts and transmogs now. Is that woman wearing assless chaps? No, it's just pockets. Can you dye lighting and change brightness? So there wasn't a ton of interactivity with the lighting that I saw. It kind of went as far as turning it off and on. So no option to like change the brightness or the dimming at the moment. I feel like it's probably more likely, you know how you have like with transmogs, you know how with tier sets you have like a version which doesn't have the sparkly effect on it, and you have a version that does have the sparkly effect on it, and it's not like a toggle that you can press on your actual transmog, it's two separate bits of transmogs. I think that will probably be the case when it comes to lighting and stuff. I bet you'll get like a light which is slightly dimmer and a light which is slightly brighter, and that'll be how you have to swap them out, sort of thing, like you do with transmog. Is the assumption, but I don't know. I don't know that yet. But most of the lights did, you could turn them off and on, for sure. Probably no answer for this, but can you change the level you enter the house on? Not currently. There's no way to have like a basement at the moment. I mean, I guess what you could do is like you could make a basement if like you came in at floor level and instantly there was a staircase going up to a second level, and then like you could create holes and like lower levels that way. But at the moment, no. And at the moment there's a 10 room limit, and that's like the pre-built, the pre-shaped rooms, right? So obviously you can make interior walls and stuff and have rooms inside those rooms, and you know, some of these are really, really big, some of them are really, really tiny, but like you can have absolutely huge ones, and some that have like inbuilt staircases and stuff like that. And I believe they said you could have 3 levels at the moment as well. What happens with people who have a personal guild with all their alts in it? Would that be a way to have more than one house? It doesn't sound likely. I don't know what they're going to do about that. I don't know. But I think, like, I've got a feeling that the exterior of these houses, I don't think plots are going to be empty when someone doesn't live there. I think that, you know, an exterior house will be on each plot, even if no one lives there. You know, so if you do have a private neighborhood for your own personal guild, it won't be like barren and empty, put it that way, even though only one of the houses will be yours. Will there be usable housing items for certain classes like a rune forge and a stable? I feel like I've got a feeling there'll be a stable. That was basically like, that was one of those questions that didn't get a no. I think we're going to get an answer for that in a couple of weeks, Max. Maybe a dumb question, but if guilds are cross-faction, can my horde friends hang and have a house in the Alliance Guild neighborhood? I don't think they're going to be able to have a house there. But you'll be able to visit. For sure. Will you make a T&E sub-private neighborhood? I won't be able to. If I do, it'll have to be horde. Because my main is going to be in my guild neighborhood. So, yeah. Is the Goldshire Inn going out of business due to this private space for these skeevy activities? I think, if anything, it's going to push Goldshire to become even dirtier. Are your neighbors randomized each time you enter the neighborhood? No. When you're in a neighborhood, that is your neighborhood. When you choose a neighborhood, I mean, this is what they've said, but I've also seen things that I can't tell you about. But you are in that neighborhood. So when you have a neighbor, unless you move neighborhoods, and I don't know how you'll do that, but unless you move neighborhoods, your neighbor is your neighbor, which I think is good. I think that's excellent. I think that's exactly as it should be. And that's like, yeah, I think that's a really, really good thing. What about, I see your house and I think it's very cool. Can I copy and paste your house build? No mention of that at the moment. It feels like something you might be able to do. You know, the only problem is everyone has different collections, right? Not everyone has access to the same stuff. So that would be an issue, I guess. But yeah. I'd like to be in a public neighborhood, but I also want to live next door to my wife. Any ideas if that's possible? It sounds like it might be possible to game that slightly, but I feel like that would be very hard. I feel like that would be pretty difficult. But I don't think it would be impossible. It could be really cool to share house designs or even sell the house decorator services like in Final Fantasy XIV. I didn't ask that in my interview, and no one mentioned it in the round table, but I'm certain someone will have asked that in one of their interviews. So my advice would be keep an eye out for that popping up in interviews. Can I place a faction aggro guard at my doorstep that attacks Alliance scum for coming too close? Sounds like an awesome idea. Sounds like an awesome idea. What were some of the most visually unique items you saw? Were you able to see item sources? So no, not able to see item sources yet. That was one of the things that people were very keen on in the roundtable. When I let anyone else speak. Sorry, everyone at the roundtable. But yeah, like with mounts and transmog, absolutely vital in my opinion to be able to see items that you haven't collected in the menu, and to see sources for those things as well. It seems like a no-brainer. That's how all the other collection menus work, right? Can I have pets or servants? Not related to the Kink Room question. We don't have confirmation for that. From the responses we were getting, it sounds like yes. I would be very, like, nothing's confirmed. It might be that they're not able to make that happen. It is my opinion, judging by their responses, they definitely want to make that happen. Are you able to freely place items outside, or just change what item gets displayed in set locations? Judging, the only thing we've got to go by until the blue post is the footage that we have here. I would say, judging by this footage, you definitely can freely place things outside. Judging by my playing of the system and what I've seen of the menus, like, a lot of the stuff I'm seeing here was stuff that was literally in the menus. So I would be very surprised if you can't freely place things within, like, the plot outside. Yeah. Can you pet battle other players in your neighborhood? I'm certain you will be able to, yes. Again, not confirmed, but I like, there's just no reason why not, right? The collectible system added in 10.1.5 seems perfectly well suited to this, maybe even designed with it in mind. Hey, I know we all agree that I was correct on this now, but I literally asked Paul Kubik, who is probably the highest ranking Blizz person there, when we were getting lunch in the office. I was like, he basically confirmed that, yeah, a lot of the kind of tech that you've seen coming into the game over the last few years was originally made with player housing in mind, and it's just found its way into the game earlier than that because, you know, player housing wasn't ready. So I know we will accept that was almost certainly the case now, but yeah, basically unofficially confirmed. Can you have an outdoor policy where you can allow anyone to enter your house? An open door policy. Oh, so that is a question that I asked in my interview with Jesse and Rachel, and they don't quite get to answering the open door policy bit. It felt like they were a bit surprised that people might want that. So that's an idea that's out there, definitely. But they said that you definitely be able to lock it. I've got a feeling, like, when I asked if you could have an option where anyone could come in, they were a bit surprised about that. But now that it's in their heads, maybe they'll enable that. Put it in your feedback, I guess. Are you sure we have to wait till tomorrow to watch the interview? Sounds like there's so much good stuff in it. Yeah. I don't want to overload the feed with videos, right? We'll put out another one tomorrow. Can you forward to Blizz that we need a bank vault, not for bank access, but that dynamically scales your Scrooge McDuck gold pool based on your total wealth? No, that would just be really depressing. Do you know how many player houses there are per neighborhood? Between 50 and 55. Yeah. You know, it's not finalized yet, but 50 to 55. And not like you choose 50 to 55. It's going to be one or the other at the moment. Are we still limited to one house per account? It's 2 houses per account. One in the Alliance neighborhood, one in the Horde neighborhood. How likely do you think it is that a new neighborhood will be a box feature for Midnight? Kind of feel like it's pretty unlikely, if I'm honest with you. I'm still holding out hope. I think it feels pretty unlikely, if I'm completely honest. Every other MMO that has housing has an open door option, so don't see why they'd be surprised, not going to lie. Yes, I do want to show everyone my massive farm of corgis. Yeah, I want people to be able to come into my house as well, honestly. I'd have an open door policy. Yeah, I absolutely would. Can I sell my Alliance house? We'll take any offer. I mean, who would buy it? They can't use it on their account if they've already got one. Sorry if I missed it. How far away are we from this feature? Is it next expansion? It is officially a Midnight box feature, but it's releasing before Midnight. And I mean, I think it's a pretty safe bet. Can you see this logo here? On the like that logo literally appears on the roadmap for 2025. I think it would oh yeah, do you know what? I would be very surprised if you didn't get early access to it by pre-ordering Midnight. Yeah. I think that's almost certain. Yeah. But this logo outside this plot here is literally on the roadmap, so I guess have a look where that is on the roadmap. I'm tempted to make a character on an RP server. It's going to be so cool to have different types of houses. Someone in the neighborhood making a tavern, someone making a clinic, someone making a stable. So cool. Yeah, it absolutely will. Definitely. So I've seen stills of pretty much what looks like the whole of the Alliance zone. And there's definitely a Duskwood corner in the zone. Yeah. There is a bit like which is Duskwood style in the biome. Yeah. You can't ignore my lockpicking idea forever, Tali. Being able to see alts in my house, I asked that in the round table. They would not confirm it, but everything they said about it suggests yes. You know, don't quote me on that because, or don't say that's confirmed just because I've said it seems like it will be likely, but they were like, sounds like a great idea. We definitely want your house to be, you know, feel like dynamic and lived in and you know, not just be a tableau. So that's not a yes, but it's sure as fuck not a no. Take what you will from that answer. And you know, your alts live in that house as well if they're the same faction, so it seems like pretty certain as far as I'm concerned. In the video, you mentioned seasonal neighborhood tasks, like everyone having an Xmas tree in their yard, etc. How is that going to work with people who stop playing? Yeah, I don't think it will need everyone to do it. You know, and I think every idea is up in the air right now. I think the stuff that you do to progress the neighborhood will be much more personal stuff. Yeah. It sounds like the things they were saying were like super vague at it. I'm just giving my best guess from what they were kind of mentioning at the moment, you know. But it was very, very vague. It is definitely the next blue post that's coming out, and I don't think that blue post is very far away. Are we gonna have guild fights on who gets a certain plot in the neighborhood? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes is the answer to that. Yeah. I hope we get like mannequins of other players we kill in the open world. Fucking hell. That's dark, man. Anything mentioned for plots being available when people in your neighborhood are no longer active? No. No, nothing mentioned about that. I get the feeling that's something they wouldn't have answered if we'd asked. I get a feeling it's going to be like, that's going to be TBC, but maybe someone has asked it in their interview. I gathered, I saw like the title of Preacher's video. It seems like he really liked it. I think Soul really enjoyed it as well. What fan do you have at the back? It's like a Dyson. I'm worried about neighborhoods. What is your specific concern about neighborhoods, Kitty? Because I might have some info for you. Can we react streamer to Preach? Yeah, sure, but I haven't finished my AMA yet. I will react, but I'd love to hear any. I'd like to try and answer as many questions as I possibly can first. Has everyone seen my room? Do I need to show my room again? This is the room that I made. So yeah, obviously the first thing I did when I made my room was I went to like the menu and I changed everything to be like, I was like, because everything we've seen is like that rustic kind of tavern feel at the moment. And I was like, okay, can I just change everything to be Blood Elf? And you can. You can literally just click on the walls and the ceilings and, you know, the basic building blocks of the room, of the interior. You can. There's a drop-down menu with different styles. The styles that were there when I saw them were folk, rustic, opulent, which I think is kind of like Zandalari Troll, night elf, Blood Elf. I can't remember. Oh, and there was the one was kind of Tauren-y, I think, as well. No, this looks much higher res than TBC. I think this is new stuff. Likewise, the Night Elf ones as well. So I just swapped them all out to Blood Elf because I was like, we haven't seen this yet. And so it was like a real relief to me to be able to like just change the interior with the press of a button to be like a different racial style, which I think is really, really good. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see these assets appear, like pop up in Silvermoon, right? In Midnight, yeah, for sure. I'm a bit sad about neighborhoods having to pick between guild and friend group. Yeah, I hear you. I have decision-making anxiety. I'm worried if I end up in a neighborhood I don't love and then feel constantly restless. Guilds already kind of make me feel this way. Yeah, I get that. I get that. I think overall it's a good thing. I think, if I'm completely honest, if it was just the house design, this system would still be very, very awesome. Like, the house design is phenomenal. Like, being able to place things to the millimeter. Okay, I mean, have you watched my video? Discordian Kitty, have you watched the video? Have you heard the best news? Like, all these books, these are all prop books that you can just put in your bookcase, but one of them was interactable. One of the books, when I put it on the floor, I was able to click on, and it opened up my reading pane, and you could just read the book, and it's an in-game book. And if they do that with every in-game book, then you can collect all the books in the game, you can place them individually where you want them on your bookcase. So you can organize them by alphabetical order, you can organize them by like date of publish, you can organize them by like color of spine or whatever. Like, you can do whatever you want. And like, you will have your own interactable fucking library in your house, which is, for me, like literally one of the biggest fucking home runs that you could possibly have. Now, that is not 100% confirmed that that's going to happen, that that's what they're going to do. But I'm telling you right now, there are interactable books in that fucking, in that inventory. So I don't know, man. It seems like a no fucking brainer, right? Like, and it would seem like a really good way of getting those books in your inventory is just to pick them up from the world. I mean, how incredible is that? That is fucking wild. And you know someone is going to have a library where all the books are really, really big. Someone's going to make a library where the books are like this fucking big. Would be awesome if they allowed us to have a stall to sell items, maybe in the town square. So this is the thing, right? Like, all these ideas, I agree with you. That would be really, really good. And that's the one thing no one is lacking at the moment is awesome ideas, right? To put stuff in. Like, I want an opportunity to have like a portrait of your character that you can hang up, which I feel like would be pretty easy, right? Sounds really, really good. When looking at decorations, could you tell what items might be unique, like they mentioned in the blue post? I'm concerned about not being able to have multiple items you worked hard for. So the unique ones are going to be like trophies, basically. You know, like, unique ones are going to be very, very rare, I think. So Syndragos's head is a unique one. It'll be stuff like that. It's like, if it is, it should be able to be quite easy to tell which ones are unique, right? So, like, nothing that you're seeing in this house right now is going to, in this shot here, is unique. You know, it's going to be very, very, very specific things that are unique. If I have a trophy in a horde house, can I put it up in my ally house? That's a great question. I would say yes, probably. You know, yeah, sounds likely. I don't see how that would not be the case. They mentioned in one of the blog posts that if you have 4 tables and use 3 in your alliance house, only 1 will be left for your horde house. Yes, so that's just like base items, right? Where you'd have to buy each one individually. I don't think that's going to be the case with, say, Syndragos's head. I don't think you will, like, you know, you've either got Syndragos's head or you haven't, and there's only one of them. I've got a feeling you'll be able to put them in each house. I get the feeling that trophies will be like house unique rather than account unique. Does that make sense? No one asked about the profession. Not that I saw. I didn't ask. Oh, Syndra, not Onyxia. I mean Onyxia's head. Sorry, I meant Onyxia's head. Yeah. How much can you do outside the house? Can you make a pond for yourself, for example? That's a great question. I don't know if like literal kind of like you can definitely put sort of fountains and stuff like that. As far as like landscaping and changing the topography, doesn't seem likely. But I think there's gonna be a blue post in that in a couple of weeks. Do you think the HD Elwyn Forest assets in the neighborhood will mean that they will be updating Elwyn Forest itself to be modern looking? I think it means they don't have to update Elwyn Forest, to be honest. I think I've talked about this before. It's not really a housing thing, so I'll keep it like quick, but I think it's very, very dangerous to update somewhere as iconic as Elwyn Forest. I think it looks great anyway. I think it looks good. I don't think you need to update it personally. I don't know. Well, you just have to make sure you get the plot that has a pond, I guess, Commie. How customizable are the houses on the outsides? Can I fully decorate the roofs, walls, and stuff? Now, we only have like the footage to go by, and I've seen a bit more footage than what I've got available to show you as well. And I did see lots of different roofs in both the Horde and Alliance neighborhood. It was more noticeable in the Alliance neighborhood. There was kind of like a high up top down shot of the Alliance neighborhood that I saw, and there were a lot of different colored roofs, like red ones, green ones, blue ones, all the colors of the rainbow, right? And slightly different styles as well. So it is definitely customizable. I'm scared they add more plot slots on the shop. Nah, I don't see that happening. The shop is just going to be... It's going to be like sets, right? It'll be, come get your Kultiran party set. The Kultirans are having a Tide Sage party. Come and get your Kultiran like party set. It'll have a Kultiran Tide Sage table, Kultiran wall hanging, a water feature sort of thing. It'll be shit like that. Come get your Dark Moon party set for your house. It'll be shit like that. You know it. And like weird, unique items that have like unique effects and stuff like that. Did you see an in-game shop link happening? That sucks. Okay, look. That fucking sucks ass. It's really shitty. Because, and I don't think people appreciate how shitty it is, because it's a button that takes you to the shop in an in-game menu. That's some fucking bullshit right there. Like, I'm not raging about the shop here, okay? Whatever. I don't give a fuck. I'm not raging about the existence of the shop. I'm not raging on the fact that they're going to sell stuff in the shop, okay? That makes sense, honestly. That's fine. Yeah, it would be exactly like having a shop button in your mount journal. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's shit. I'm not pretending. And you know what? I don't think they're going to keep it. Because... So there was this bit in the roundtable where Jesse was like, okay, everyone's coming up with really good ideas now, and I really like your feedback, but what I really want is some, like, critical feedback. Does anyone have any critical feedback? And my hand went straight the fuck up. And I was like, yeah, I'm a bit concerned about the shop button in the menu. Does that connect? It wasn't, like, it didn't work. It was, like, grayed out, but it was there, and I was like, does that connect straight to the shop? And all the devs were pretty quiet. No one wanted to answer. And Jess literally said the words, "It's okay, I'll take the bullet on this one." And said, yeah, the plan is that does connect to the shop, yeah. And I was like, I find that very intrusive. You know, we all know that there's... I don't think anyone's upset they're going to sell stuff in the shop. That's absolutely fine. But having it on an in-game menu when you don't have that anywhere else in the game, I find it very intrusive. I don't like it. And obviously everyone agreed. And I wouldn't be surprised if they change it. You know, I don't think the devs have a say on it as either, but I think if Jesse can pass on that, like, literally everyone in that room was just like, fuck that shit, you know, maybe he can push to get it changed. But you're right, I don't think it comes down to Jess at the end of the day. But I think he can probably, like, voice those as very stringent concerns from the fucking, like, community members that they specifically asked in to talk about it, right? Can I have a little farm in my garden like in Mop? Not with relevant herbs. So they were talking, we had a good conversation in the round table about, like, what functionality is okay in the house and what functionality isn't okay. So, like, a mine isn't okay. A herb garden with, like, expansion specific herbs probably not okay. Actually, Zeppler came up with a really good idea, because she's like, yeah, herb garden's cool. We kind of want a herb garden, but we don't want one which is like, oh, you have to have it. Because the thing is, they don't want people to have a house to do anything, any other kind of form of gameplay more efficiently. So every form of gameplay is going to award stuff for your house, but they don't want anyone to be like, I have to have a house because of the herb garden, right? And I think that's a very good philosophy. I would agree with that philosophy. So Zeppler came up with a really good idea. It's like, what if you just had a herb garden that grew either just ornamental herbs or herbs that are only used in recipes for making stuff for your house? You know, and I think either of those ideas is really cool, because herb gardens are fun. And like harvesting a herb garden or something would be it's a great idea. Yeah, really good idea. And Zeppler made a really cool night elf little nook as well. It was really cool. Like, me and Zeppler are buddies now. I hope we can craft furniture inside our houses at least, if no other profession. Yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool. Did they say anything about there being a portal room? No, they didn't. In some of the footage I've seen, there are summoning stones outside some of the houses. I don't know if that is like a neighborhood summoning stone or a home summoning stone, but I have seen some summoning stones in these neighborhoods. Yeah, it is a very, very nice time to be a WoW player. Is anyone concerned about the world feeling empty because everyone will be in player homes? That's why I think neighborhoods is a really, really important part of this system. So, I mean, yes, I think that's always a concern, but I think that's a real reason to keep. I mean, I think there's an argument for having things like auction houses and banks in a neighborhood, and that would be nice on one hand. But I think overall, I'd rather they stay in the capitals. You know, and I think like when you're queuing for, you know, like what you go to Dornogal now, it will be packed. Dornogal is absolutely heaving right now because it's all a bunch of people there, like queuing for their Mythic Plus. You know, like doing all their trading tables and stuff like that. And as long as you keep those things, then cities are always going to feel very full. Like Dornogal absolutely nails it. Like Dornogal, I think, is the best designed hub city since BFA. There's only 2 been since then, but you know what I mean. Like it's an exquisitely designed hub city in the way that it gathers everyone. With the auction house mount, you can have player-driven auction houses on the neighborhood. Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah. I'm in Dornogal right now and it's popping. Nice. I hope there will be an option of finding a neighborhood together with people in your current party the first time you get your house to make sure... Oh, that is a great idea, Otter. Yeah, that's a really good idea. I just want to be able to place all my Legion legendaries somewhere. Yeah. Housing in 14 doesn't stop the world being full. I don't see it being an issue for WoW either. No, I like to hope that it wouldn't be. But I think it's worth having as a concern after the garrison's debacle. Since we only get one house per faction, I'm now very interested in how the rooms work. Did you test how large the rooms are? Are they separated by loading screens? The rooms aren't separated by loading screens, no. To enter your house, there will be a loading screen to go through your front door, which makes sense because the interior of the house has no reflection of the outside of the house, so kind of impossible not to do that, I guess. I'm fine with that. I'm more concerned about the loading screen to get into the neighborhood. I find that very disappointing if that turns out to be the case. But a loading screen to get into your house, fine, whatever. So the rooms, okay, when you like, it is like we saw in the thing. Sorry, I should be playing this. So just very quickly before I finish, because I've got to go down and see my kids. But it is the case where, oh no, I won't bother. But it is like you select rooms to like lead off from each other. And they are huge. Like they're big enough to make multiple rooms out of. They're spaces rather than rooms, really. And you can have 10 of those currently, and on multiple floors as well. And they're huge. Like these are fucking mansions if you want them to be, right? They're really, really big. The current like item limit in a house is 10,000. Can we change the background music in our house like the garrison? That is a question in my interview. And on that bombshell, I will leave it there. So thank you for everyone who joined me today. It's been really, really fun. Guys, thank you. I'm going to see my kids. Love you all. See you later.